Meet my future wife. No clickbait this time. The moment had finally come. No more teasing, no more keeping things under wraps. I was ready to introduce her to the world. For a long time I avoided sharing too much. Not because I was ashamed, but because I knew what people could be like. They judge, they speculate, they assume, and honestly, I wasn't in the mood to hear anyone's opinions about the one person who mattered most to me. But now things were different. She wasn't just someone I was seeing. She wasn't just a part of my life. She was my life. The woman who had walked into my world and changed everything. I could still remember the first time we met, how unexpected it was, how natural it felt. There was no dramatic movie moment, no slow motion scene with music playing in the background. Just two people who crossed paths and somehow knew, even before words were spoken, that this was something real. From that day on, I watched her prove over and over again why she was the one. It wasn't just in the big things, the way she supported me, the way she always saw the best in me, the way she believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. It was in the little things too. The way she laughed at my worst jokes, the way she remembered things I had said in passing, the way she made every ordinary day feel like something special. And now, here we were. I knew there would be reactions. Some people would be happy for us. Others would have their doubts. There would be those who would whisper, question, and dissect every detail. But none of that mattered, because this time I wasn't hiding anything. No clickbait, no games, no exaggerations, just the truth. This is her. This is the woman I'm going to marry. I could already hear the voices in my head, the skepticism, the judgment, the disbelief. Are you sure about this? She doesn't seem like your type. You haven't known her that long. What if you're making a mistake? I knew they would come. People always had something to say when you did something they didn't expect. But the thing was, I didn't need their approval. I had made my choice, and I wasn't looking back. As I sat there staring at the ring box in my hand, I thought about how different life had been before she came along. I used to think love was something you planned for, something you controlled. I thought it had to follow a certain timeline, make perfect sense, check off all the right boxes. She shattered that idea completely. She came into my life like a storm, unpredictable, unstoppable, undeniable. From the moment I met her, everything changed. She didn't fit into some neat little category. She wasn't the kind of person you could explain in a single sentence. She was layered, complex, and real. And that's exactly why I loved her. She didn't pretend to be perfect. She didn't say all the right things just to impress me. She was honest, raw, and completely herself. And in a world full of people who were trying to be something they weren't, that meant everything. I thought about the first time I introduced her to my family. I won't lie. It wasn't exactly smooth. There were awkward silences, a few skeptical glances, and that one relative who pulled me aside and whispered, "Are you sure about this?" I was sure. I was more sure about her than I had ever been about anything in my life. She didn't try to win them over with charm or fake politeness. She was simply herself. And little by little they started to see what I saw. They saw her kindness, her strength, her loyalty. They saw the way she stood by me, the way she looked at me, the way she made me better. Some people still had their doubts. That was fine. They would understand, eventually. Or maybe they wouldn't. Either way, it didn't change a thing. I snapped the ring box shut and took a deep breath. It was time. I wasn't just introducing my future wife to the world. I was choosing my future. The weight of the decision pressed against my chest. Not because I was uncertain, but because I knew how much this moment would define everything moving forward. I had never been the type to care about what people thought. But this was different. I stood up, the ring box still clenched in my hand, and walked toward the door. The evening air was thick. the kind that carried the unspoken thoughts of everyone who had something to say but didn't dare to voice it. I could already picture their faces. Some smiling, some hesitant, some outright disapproving. I didn't need their approval, but I did need her to know that no matter what came next, I was standing by her. She was waiting for me at the cafe where we first met, completely unaware of what I was about to do. I had been rehearsing the words over and over in my head, but they never seemed enough. How do you tell someone that they changed your life in a way you never expected, that they turned everything upside down, and yet somehow it finally made sense? As I parked my car and walked inside, I saw her immediately. She wasn't wearing anything fancy, just a simple dress, hair pulled back in that effortless way she always did. But she was glowing, like she always did. She didn't need a spotlight to stand out. The moment her eyes met mine, she smiled. I sat down across from her, heart racing, knowing that once I spoke, there was no turning back. "I need to tell you something," I said, setting the small box on the table between us. Her eyes flickered to it, then back to me. She didn't look shocked, just quiet, waiting. "You know people have opinions," I continued. "Some of them think they know what's best for me. They think they can tell me who I should be with, what kind of woman fits into my life." She exhaled softly, her hands resting on the table, but she didn't interrupt. "I've listened to them for long enough," I admitted. "But what they don't realize is, I don't care. I don't care what they think, what they expect, or what they assume about us." Her lips parted slightly, as if she was about to say something, but I kept going. "Because none of it changes how I feel about you. It doesn't change what I know about you, about us, and it definitely doesn't change the fact that I love you." I reached for the box, opening it slowly, revealing the ring inside. "This isn't about proving anything to anyone," I said. "It's not about making a statement or silencing doubts. It's about one thing. Us, the life we want to build, the future we choose for ourselves." Her breath hitched, and for a moment she didn't move. "Meet my future wife," I said softly. "If you'll have me." The cafe seemed to disappear around us. There were no voices, no expectations, no outside noise, just her, just us. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached for the ring box. Her fingers hovered over it for a moment, then withdrew, as if she needed time to absorb the weight of what was happening. The world outside the cafe carried on as usual, laughter from other tables, the clinking of coffee cups, the faint hum of traffic beyond the glass windows. But between us, time had slowed to a standstill. "You're serious," she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't hesitate. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Her eyes searched mine, as if looking for something, doubt, hesitation, an ounce of uncertainty. She wouldn't find any. "But your family, your friends," she started, shaking her head slightly. "You know they have their opinions." I let out a breath, leaning forward. "I know, and I don't care. If I spent my life trying to please everyone else, I'd never be happy. You make me happy. That's all that matters to me." Her lips parted, but no words came out. She blinked rapidly, as if holding back something overwhelming. I had seen her strong, I had seen her fierce, but this was different. This was vulnerable. "I never thought," she started, then stopped herself. I always worried that maybe I wouldn't be enough." The idea alone made my chest tighten. I reached across the table, taking her hands in mine. "You are everything," I said, my voice steady. "Everything I never knew I needed. And I don't want to spend another day pretending like my life could be complete without you in it." The cafe noise faded further into the background. She stared at me, her grip on my hands tightening, and then finally she smiled. A slow, genuine, breathtaking smile. "You really mean it?" she asked, still in disbelief. I nodded. "Say yes, and I'll spend the rest of my life proving it to you." She exhaled sharply. almost like a laugh. And then she nodded, blinking away the tears, threatening to spill over. Yes, she whispered, her voice breaking, then louder, firmer, like she was no longer afraid of the choice. Yes, I let out a breath. I hadn't realized I was slipping the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly, just like us. For the first time in a long time, I felt a deep, undeniable peace settle inside me. Let them talk. Let them have their opinions. This was my choice, my life, my future, and I had just made the best decision of all. The moment the ring slid onto her finger, it felt like the entire world had shifted. She stared at it, twisting it slightly, as if making sure this was real. Then, she looked back at me, and I saw something I hadn't before, relief. As if for the first time, she truly believed this was happening. Outside the cafe window, the world moved on, people walking past, lost in their own lives. But inside, it was just us. She exhaled, then let out a soft laugh. I can't believe this. I smiled, squeezing her hands gently. Believe it. We're in this together now. She nodded slowly, but I could see something flicker in her eyes. Doubt. Not about us, but about everything beyond us. My family will be happy for me, she murmured, but there was hesitation in her voice. But yours. She let the sentence hang in the air. I already knew where she was going with it. They'll have opinions, I admitted. They always do. But I don't need their approval to know what I want. She bit her lip. I don't want you to lose them over me. I shook my head. If they can't accept the person who makes me happy, then maybe they never really understood me at all. She searched my face for a moment, then sighed, nodding. I just don't want you to resent me later. Never, I said immediately. Not for a second. Silence settled between us, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It was filled with understanding. I knew this wasn't just about love. It was about acceptance, about fighting for something despite the world's expectations. I'll tell them soon, I promised. No more waiting, no more hiding. Her grip on my hand tightened, and I could feel her trust in that moment. She believed me. Okay, she whispered. Okay, for now this was enough, but I knew soon we'd have to face everything waiting for us outside this cafe. The night before, I was supposed to tell my family. I barely slept, lying in bed. I kept going over the conversation in my head. I could already picture their reactions. Raised eyebrows, doubtful glances, maybe even a tense silence that said more than words ever could. It wasn't that I didn't love my family. I did. But I also knew how they were, traditional, opinionated, and stuck in their own version of what my life should be. Morning came too quickly. The sun barely had time to rise before my phone buzzed with a message from her. Good luck today. No matter what happens, I'm here. I stared at the screen for a moment before replying. Thank you. I'll call you after. Then I got up, got dressed, and made my way to my parents' house. The house smelled like fresh coffee and toasted bread when I stepped inside. My mom was in the kitchen, humming as she stirred something on the stove, while my dad sat at the table, reading the newspaper like he did every morning. Hey, you're early, my dad said, without looking up. What's the occasion? I swallowed. I need to talk to you both. That got their attention. My mom wiped her hands on a towel and sat down across from me. My dad folded his newspaper and placed it on the table. Is everything okay? Mom asked, concern in her voice. I nodded, but my stomach twisted. Yeah, I want to introduce you to someone. I saw the change in their expressions immediately, curiosity mixed with something else. Someone? My dad repeated. Who? I exhaled slowly. My fiancée. Silence. For a second, I thought maybe they hadn't heard me. But then my mom's eyes widened, and my dad's lips pressed into a thin line. You're engaged? Mom finally asked. And you didn't tell us? I wanted to, I admitted. I wasn't sure how you'd react. Dad leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. And why is that? I hesitated. Because I know she's not who you'd expect. Another silence. Mom was the first to speak. What do you mean? I cleared my throat. She's different. From what you're used to. From what you might have pictured for me. Dad frowned. Different how? I took a deep breath. She's not from our culture. She doesn't come from the same background. But she loves me, and I love her. That's what matters. The tension in the room thickened. Mom looked down at her hands, while Dad's jaw tightened. You're sure about this? He asked. Yes, I said firmly. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. Mom sighed, rubbing her temples. We want what's best for you. I know, I said softly, but this is what's best for me. They exchanged a glance. I could tell they weren't convinced. Not yet. And I knew this conversation was far from over.